exciting. Today we got another one of our four ways collaboration videos, I think number 15, where my collaboration partners Richard Raffin, Sam Angelo, Thomas Etch, and myself each agree on making a video on a similar project for you. Please watch those other videos. They'll be in the links at the end of this video, and they're also in the description area. This month it's supposed to be a bowl or a platter with square sides. I may be pushing that definition just a little bit, but I think it'll be an interesting topic for you, so stay tuned. I turned this little emerging bowl in a video sometime back, and it got me thinking about other ideas, and I did a prototype of this emerging sphere, and this is the one that I showed that flew off the lathe, and we're going to make a larger one today that looks somewhat similar to this, but hopefully better. So we're starting with a 3" by 3" by 7" blank that's been carefully cut, or 75 by 75 by 175 millimeters. We're going to start making a template something like this. I cut this on a scroll saw and sanded it, but then I ran across an article by Giulio Marcolongo who had a better technique, and that's what I'm showing you today. I'm going to use a glue block as a backer board, and I'm going to put my template on there with tape. I could have used hot melt glue, but tape is faster. Get you a square big enough for that hemisphere you're going to be making. Draw careful lines across the center, and make use an awl to make a point there for your live center to bring it up. We're just going to bring this up and let it set for a little while. And then we're going to cut it out on the lathe, because that's the fastest and easiest way to get the jig we're making. And it's easier than doing it on a scroll saw if you're not a scroll sawer. I used a compass to draw a circle at the appropriate size of my sphere, in this case 2½ inches, and now I'm going to cut out that template. And I'm going to use the thin parting tool. Let's speed up a little bit. About 1200 or so, doesn't much matter. I'm going to come in with my thin parting tool. I'll go over to the bandsaw or table saw, cut this off, and then I'm going to carefully sand it. I'm going to cut it just north of the pencil line, and then I'll sand it just past the pencil line, so I'll get exactly half the sphere. So I'm going to turn this hemisphere in the middle so we draw from corner to corner to mark the center. And measurements need to be very, very precise, or your project, you're not going to be happy with it. So this is going to be the top. Now next, we've got to extend that line onto the other face. Carefully. And then we need to mark the center of that as well. Now hopefully we'll go through that center line. Okay. Next, we need we're going to come off the hemisphere a little ways, and I've made that template where I've got a little bit of room here. We're going to cut away that much waste. So for me, I think a reasonable amount to take off is about 30%. So this will be our initial turning. We're going to turn away this amount of wood. So on this face, I'm drawing a line 1/3 of the diameter. And I'm using a real fine felt tip pen, so I can see it when the lathe is turning. I think that'll help. And I want to do the same thing. This is going to be the initial side we're turning. I'm calling that side 1. This will be the top of the box when we finish. I'm calling that side 2, and I'm going to mark this the same way. About 1/3 of the diameter, or about 30. I mismeasured this line. I'm going to remove approximately 30% of the blank, or 1/3 of the sphere. I made this 1/3. I need to reduce it to 30% of the sphere, or 30% of the blank. So I'm just going to draw another line right here. this doesn't need to be real precise. There. If you're not very precise in your measurements, your two hemispheres will not coincide. Your two hemispheres will not be in perfect alignment. You might have a gap there or a gap here, and you don't want that. Now I use a compass to draw that template size on each of the two faces that I'm going to be turning. We need to have them absolutely line up. So I've got this backer board out of 3/4 inch MDF, two pieces glued together, mounted on a face plate. Now I'm going to mount the blank initially with turner's tape, which is very, very strong. I get mine from Woodcraft, and I've been using the same roll of tape now for over 15 years because I don't use it a lot, but it's amazingly strong. Now, did I mention you cannot leave anything to chance? Leave your optimism at the door and do everything you can to absolutely prevent your blank from coming off. I'm going to substitute from this 60-degree cone to a center without a cone that's just a ring on it because I can put even pressure on it. Leave no margin for error fastening this block down multiple ways. Your markups and lines and labeling is not so you might get it right, but it's so you can't get it wrong when you go to moving these things around and assembling them. Did I say leave no room for margin or error? So I'm going to put a bead of glue on each side on the base just to keep it from getting forced out. Okay, face shield on. I'm going to move my control where it'll be a little closer to me. I can bump it with my hip. I got the tool rest running perpendicular to the lathe. I'm going to put a little piece of tape just outside this area here. And now I'm going to slowly start it up. It's fairly well balanced because I'm cutting in the center of the blank. So I can get the speed up a little bit. I'm going to be turning air, so speed is our friend. I'm standing out of the line of fire. I don't know if you can hear that propeller. So I'm going to start with pull cuts, try to level it out. Even tailstock before. Like that. I'm turning this into just kind of a cylinder right here on the end. I'm not worried about the shape of that box. I'm just worried about getting it nice even strokes. And I can kind of look down the shadow line down the middle and see that I'm getting it. It's getting it pretty even. All right, let's stop and take a look. I feel like I'm getting some chip out a little bit, but it's going to be on this other face, so that will get cleaned up. I'm not worried about that chip out much on that side. The rest of it looks pretty good. You're just going to continue this down until we get it to that first line. I've got a bit further to go to this line, but not much. I'm going to stay just a bit short of it, and then I'll start working on this soon. I've left myself a little margin for error. Now I start shaping the hemisphere. I'm using a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. come in here with a flat scraper, just carefully nick that corner. This is slightly rounded, so I won't catch this corner and this corner at the same time. Then I'm going to bring it across just to get rid of any tool marks and keep it flat. I add some pencil marks to the high point so I can go in and fine tune with that scraper. And I'm happy with that surface. Tool marks pretty much gone. The rest of it I can deal with sanding. We have to sand it before we change profile. So I'm going to hand sand. I don't think there's a need to do a power sand. Go with the grain. And I'll go through all the grits. Okay, when I was playing with the templates, and the templates never lie, I realized that you know, this gap here needs to be closed, because actually this template is for this circle. This is the actual center line on the other side. It's got to, I've got to go back and work on this hemisphere a little bit more. So I had to take the top of the sphere down a 1/4 inch, because it needs to be sticking, you know, it was a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the board. And I actually needed to take the other half of my template and change the shape of it like this. This is not touching the center. That's touching the center. So I needed to use take the other half of the template, cut the wings back so I could use this shallower template to do the hemisphere. And I've got more work to do. Now with this shorter template, I can make sure that I've got a nice hemisphere shape to it that will meet the other one. All right, so now it's time to take this off and flip it 90 degrees. Okay, now I'm off. Now, I think I probably cut away the side no glue, but I can use the all in maybe as well. I guess on this. Just got away glue. Line it up. Okay, this side, same thing. Glue. Okay, now I've still got the tape under there, so I've got to be very careful of not damaging the bottom of this while I pry it up. And I'm just going to start putting some pressure on this side and see if I can't get it to ease up a little bit. This glue, this tape is hard. This side is going to be cut away, so I don't need to worry about damage on this side, so I'm going to pop a chisel in there. This will be done. Come on this side as well. Get a big chisel. An old chisel, nice chisel. I think it's going to be easier for me to take off these supplemental blocks and put them back on to knock this loose. So let's do that. A heat gun will also help free up that tape. Okay, now a little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of damage maybe in that corner for that wood, but that'll come off. This tape is just amazingly strong stuff. Okay, I got more tape on the side that needs to be mounted on tape. We again use the center to help us line this up. And you may need to tap the bottom in place just a little bit, get it square. We can crank down on this because we're going to put an opening here, so I don't care if I get a little undue pressure on it. Alright, now we're going to put that supporting block back. Okay, now the other side, honestly the diameter of this side has changed. I've got a solution to that. I cut this out on the first prototype, so I've got to get there, and all I got to do is support it. Okay, that's where it goes. We'll this in, put a little bit of hot glue on the Now these blocks keep it from coming out on either side, but we still need to go back and just put just a little bit of glue, hot melt glue there to keep it from flipping out on us like that first one I did. And I guess what I had not realized here, I must have marked the depth on this side, and that line went away, so I have to redraw the line. But bottom line is the blank is going to be square when I finish, so I measure here is 2 1/4 inches, and I draw that line down parallel to the one that I thought I was drawing. Okay, we got it mounted, we got it secured. It won't come out sideways, it won't come out this way because the glue, it's a little bit off balance now because we've removed this amount of wood, about 1 inch, and we moved this in closer to the center, so it might tend to vibrate a little bit more. I had to go back and redraw the line that I had it on the wrong, must have had it on the side that I cut away, so I had to reestablish that depth on this side with the drawing line here and here, so I'll see it as it goes around. So let's get going. Again, deja vu all over again with a bowl gouge, 5/8 inch, to take this down to a cylinder down to that line. Got everything secured. Okay, here we go. Let's check our progress. This is going a little bit faster. Still got another 1/3 of an inch to go down. You know, basically it's got to come down to that hemisphere in here on this side. Turn the speed up. I'm going about 1400. Probably should go faster, but kind of intimidating. Right up to 1700. Okay. Getting real close to where we need to be here. I think we're there. We're there here. I gotta need to come down some in closer. Now I need to start evaluating as I bring this in. You can see this gap here, and you can see this gap here that's probably got to come down as well. I think I'm going to work a little bit on the sphere before I worry about cleaning this surface up. So I'm going to take tailstock back. Take a couple of passes with a bowl gouge before I step down to a 1/2 inch spindle gouge. looking and evaluating. Still got to bring it in some, a little bit here, a good bit there. We can see, you know, we're trying to get it down to this, so we got another 1/4 inch or so to go. I'm looking down here at the side to see how that join is coming together. Still a little thick down here. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to square this up a little bit. Come in here with the scraper and I'll just sneak up on it. Yep, it is bringing it in. I could possibly turn this way, or turn it back the way it was and try to clean it up, but I don't know what kind of success I'm going to have with that. If I turn the corner here, I'm going to take a gouge out of there all the way around. Let's see, if I bring this down further. No, I think I'm just going to have to make that a design feature. But my intent was to make this a hollow this out, so let's start that. Actually, I think I'm going to drill a hole. I'm going to use a 1 inch Morse taper drill bit and just hollow out a good portion of it. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to set this on 1 inch and then go to 3 1/4. Okay. Now we'll finish hollowing it. I'll start with this 3/8 inch bowl gouge and see if I can't take a little bit out of the wall, and then I'll switch to some type of scraper. Get the speed up, at least 1,000. Pull this a little high. Too hard to get back in there. I'm gonna start going to some type of scraper. I'm gonna use this scraper, Dale Nish style scraper. I need to raise the tool rest because the tool is not as thick. And it's a conventional scrape, so I've got to keep the handle up and the cutter down. tool needs sharpening. I'm just going to take a hone and hit the top surface and maybe put a small burr on it. Don't want to get too aggressive. Smooth those walls out. In case some wood turning proctologist won't stick his finger in there. Oh, the walls are nice. Now just a little bit at the bottom. Come down here. I can get rid of that. Get rid of most of it. Actually, I can get rid of all that design feature. But if I do, it's going to make this, bringing this down, that's going to take that in. It's going to make this worse. Well, let me sand it and think about it. I use a point tool to make a couple of V-grooves right here. Alright, deja vu all over again, taking it off. First, spray a little DNA on the hot melt glue. Okay, now. Oh, that worked out pretty easy. I think that denatured alcohol made a difference. Okay. Here's a few views of the project from different angles, and you can see the imperfections of how I wasn't able to get them to completely join. So I decided I'd use a little embellishment, and a little dye, and a little Sonja iridescent paints to kind of disguise that a little bit.